Nottingham Forest will have a fight on their hands to obtain the signature of Tyler Adams. Welcome to your transfer news. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest transfer news. In today's video, we will be talking about the latest with Tyler Adams and the fight Forest face with him. We'll be talking about a bid being rejected for a player that Forest are heavily chasing. We've got to talk about England and Morgan Gibbs-White. And we've got to talk about the first official signing that Nottingham Forest have through the door. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. And if you are new here and enjoying the daily transfer videos, please don't forget to subscribe. And finally, there's only 24 hours left for you to get this signed framed Morgan Gibbs-White shirt. There's only a few tickets left, so click on the link in the description and grab your tickets before they go. Finishes 7:30 tomorrow night. All right, let's get started and let's jump into the news. All right, let's start with my main man, Tyler Adams, and what's been developing with him lately. Well, at the moment, the movements from Forest have been very quiet for him. The interest is obviously there. They are one of a few clubs, though. More and more clubs seem to be entering the race for him, and some of them are some big hitting names. You've got the likes of Villa that we've already told you about. But now Newcastle and Manchester United have shown their interest in the Leeds midfielder. The American has had a price tag of about 40 million put on him from Leeds United, as they are desperate to try and keep hold of him. However, the rumours are that Tyler has told Leeds United that he wants to leave to persist better football because Leeds are in the Championship. But this isn't going to be an easy fight. But that 40 million price tag may actually work in Nottingham Forest's favour, as 40 million for a Championship player, as he is technically now, is something that may be putting off Manchester United and Aston Villa, and they feel they may get more value for money elsewhere in the market. And Leeds are doing that because they've still got time on his contract and are trying their best to keep hold of him. However, how does this work in Forest's favour? Well, firstly, I can't for all the money in the world see him going for 40 million. I think 30, maybe 25 million is where a deal can be struck. But what Forest have in their favour is potentially what they could do. And there are a few very loose rumours about this, but they are rumours that I actually quite like, is look for a player swap with him. Forest have plenty of players that they need to push on. We did a stream on this on Sunday. And these players would be really well suited, if not too good, for the Championship. And this may actually interest Leeds United. I'm talking about players like Lewis O'Brien. Now, for me, Lewis O'Brien should still be a Forest player, but I've kind of made my peace with the fact that he isn't really in Cooper's plans at the moment. So why not use that to our advantage and do him as a partial swap for Tyler Adams? Lewis O'Brien is probably still worth in and around 8 to 12 million pounds. And if you're looking at Tyler Adams being worth 25 realistically, regardless of what Leeds think they'll get for him, then potentially you're only looking at a small net spend from Nottingham Forest to bring him in. That also takes another of our players out of our ecosystem, which helps us with our squad size, and brings a player in who I highly rate. And in that CDM position is exactly what Nottingham Forest need. So I think this would actually be a more attractive offer to Leeds. And because they're getting something decent in return, then potentially they will scrap their deluded 40 million idea for Tyler Adams and actually start to play ball, because they are getting cash and something in return for him. And I mean, if you think about it logically, if Leeds were to go and get 40 million for Tyler Adams, let's say for argument's sake, they would still need to then go and spend that money to bring in players who would help them in their promotion push. I guess they're looking at it this season. And with most of the clubs knowing that they would have, say, got 40 million for Tyler Adams, that will automatically push prices up for players that they are looking to acquire. So doing this deal in one swoop, one helps both clubs because they both get exactly what they want. And secondly, Leeds would have the saving of actually looking around for a player, negotiating, starting it, etc. And it puts both clubs, Forest and Leeds, in a position of, equality when it comes to this deal. So I kind of like the sound of that. There could be another players that get floated Leeds' way. Maybe we're looking to get rid of a couple more midfielders in this window, and they could be part of that deal, or instead of O'Brien, if maybe they've kissed and made up with him, Cooper, and whoever else the falling out was with. So I actually like the sound of that idea, but how do you guys feel about it? Would you take a swap deal? Even though I know a lot of you do rate Lewis O'Brien, would you see this happening? And don't forget as well, Rodrigo at Leeds is still only worth 3 to 3.5 million on his release fee relegation clause. So that's something Forest could still talk to Leeds about. Those would be the two players, and chuck in Nonto as well. We could see, hopefully, a lot of white turning into red this summer. Those are the three players I want from Leeds, but if I could only have one, it's Tyler Adams. And the fact that he's linked with Nottingham Forest is a really good thing. However, the likes of Villa could potentially do the same deal and look to swap some of the players they're looking to offload. Let's think about it. They still have Davies on their books. And Davies, we know, is a proven goal scorer at championship level. Scored loads for us, scored loads for Watford last season. And he would be perfect for Leeds. So potentially that may be a deal that Villa look to make as a part exchange swap. I really can't see Tyler Adams going for straight cash with any of the four clubs that he's been linked with currently. But I do feel that Forest holds some cards. But then again, some of the other clubs do as well. Where do you guys think Tyler Adams will end up? Let me know down in the comments below. Let's move on and talk about a bid that has been rejected for Nottingham Forest, and that's for Saiss, the Besiktas player that Forest have been linked with for the last 6 months, has been rejected. Forest tabled a bid for apparently just over £2 million, and Besiktas want in excess of 3 to 3.5 million to get this deal done. And I think this is way too much money to spend on a 33-year-old. If he was 25, I'd be like, this is an absolute bargain. But it is clear to see that either Cooper or Nottingham Forest are fully interested in this player. There are a few other clubs, as we mentioned before, that want his services. He is good enough for the Premier League. I have no problems with him as a player. My issue with him is the age profile, because we've already got Felipe, we've already got the likes of Bolly, etc., who are plus 30, and we need younger defenders coming in who can learn off these Rolls Royces that we currently have. So for me, I wish Forest would just give up. I'm kind of happy that the bid got rejected. I hope we don't go back in and match the offer that they're looking for, because I don't think it's money well spent. Now, could he turn into a Felipe? Probably not, because there's only one Felipe. But remember, he does have many games, over 150 games in the Premier League for Wolves. So he's very experienced. But I just don't think he's the right profile that we currently need. So what do you guys think on Saiss? Do you think Forest should pursue it? Do you think we should up the offer that we've already offered Besiktas? Or do you think let it go and move on to a younger profile player? Let me know, as always, down in the comments below. So I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it. I guess we better confirm Forest's first official signing, which is Chris Wood. Chris Wood officially becomes a Nottingham Forest player today as the transfer window in England has opened. So just to clarify, and thank you, Ant, the transfer window is open today. However, the international window will not open until the 1st of July. So any deals done in and around the UK, so to speak, will be confirmed and completed from today onwards. So Chris Wood will be sending Newcastle 15 million of Marinakis' money, plus the 4 million for the loan fee. That one goal he scored last season, that worldie from 2 yards, has cost us a total of 19 million. And in the bigger scheme of things, we didn't even really need that point at Man City, as we were safe with or without it. So, what do we do with Chris Wood, I guess, is the question. Well, with Marinakis buying Monza, maybe a loan out to Italy. He looks like he could do with a bit of an Italian tan on him. Maybe Monza do need a prolific striker. Chris Wood may actually fit the bill. Could we see some internal movements in the Marinakis hierarchy of football clubs, and maybe Chris Wood goes to Monza or Olympiacos? I don't think that will be the case. To be honest, there's a lot of talks at the moment that Chris Woods is fighting to get fit in time for the new season. In fact, the pre-season. And I'm thinking, mate, just take your time. No rush. No rush. But joking aside, this isn't anything against Chris Wood. For me, the thing that frustrates me the most is how did we end up spending that much money on someone Newcastle spent 25 million for, didn't have a huge goal return record, and is way past 31. In fact, he'll turn 32 before the end of the year. Again, it's this whole plus 30 thing that's starting to worry me a little bit. But I can confirm Chris Wood is officially a Red. Okay, you're probably getting sick of this one, just as we are with the whole Hendo deal, but there has been more changes in Lodi's situation. We told you yesterday that there was a good chance that Lodi may actually end up back in Brazil, potentially at Palmeiras as one of the clubs that were interested in him. It is now being reported that Renan Lodi does not want to go back to Brazil and wants to continue playing in European football. He still feels he's too young to go back there, as he is about 24, 25, I think, off the top of my head. And he still feels that his best days are still ahead of him. But he does really want to play European football. And that's something this season that Forest can't give him. Maybe next season we will be able to. So it will look like for Lodi to pursue his European dreams in terms of playing in Europe, he is going to have to get his family to move back across from Brazil into Europe. Be that UK, be that mainland Europe, we don't know yet. But at the moment, the change is quite significant. And Forest can still, and probably are still, negotiating with Atleti to get that price down. There was talks at the price that Atletico Madrid would be willing to move down to 17 million for Lodi. And I think that's an absolute bargain. And I would take back everything I said about the expiry of the option to buy if Forest could secure him for nearly half the price that was in the option to buy. I still firmly believe that these conversations must and should have gone on before the expiry of the loan to buy, because I just don't think we've been told everything. And I don't think the people negotiating this are that silly. So if Forest are really interested in him, there must have been clear indications from Madrid that they would reduce that option to buy fee. So watch this space. But at the moment, the hardest part of this was that Lodi's family situation was that they wanted to remain in Brazil. But it seems that Lodi has been able, or may have been able, to have that conversation with his partner, and not his kid's a baby, to see about them coming back across to Europe. And if that's the case, then Forest may find themselves back in the race to sign Lodi. Remember, however, there have been loose links with him to Newcastle, and Newcastle can offer him Champions League football, and that may be a temptation too much for him, and he may actually take that if Newcastle show enough interest. But at the moment, I see this as a positive sign that Lodi is willing to continue in Europe. And of course, Forest could be that destination. But at the same time, Forest is still interested in Augusto. Now that Marinakis has bought the club, this whole left-back situation is getting quite messy currently. And we're going to have to see how it pans out. But we'll keep you up to date with all the news on it and all the rumours, etc. And let's move on. And Morgan Gibbs-White has reported for duty for England, not the full English team, but the under-21s. And he is there on merit. After the disappointment of not being called up by Gareth Southgate, he looks like he is absolutely beaming right now, getting to know all his other England compadres as they prepare for the tournament this summer. Now, do I want Morgan Gibbs-White in this tournament? Not really. Honestly, I don't know how many games it is, but I would have liked Morgan Gibbs-White to have had a little bit of a break, recharge the batteries up, ready for the big campaign next season for Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. However, while he is there are a lot of players that I've got my eye on, and maybe MGW can turn into Agent MGW and see if he can secure one or two of these players for Nottingham Forest. So I wish him all the best in this tournament. He is clearly clearly excited about it. You can tell he loves playing for his country, and hopefully he will get that full international cap soon. But not too soon, Morgan. We got to get you focusing on Nottingham Forest. So congratulations to MG Dub and all the best in the tournament. That brings you up to date with your latest Nottingham Forest transfer news. If you've enjoyed the video and you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new here. And don't forget, if you want a ticket for, speaking of the devil, Morgan Gibbs White, there's only a few tickets left in that signed framed shirt. Go check out Football Prizes. The link's in the description below. And come on, you Reds.